Hey guys, it's TheFrXion here, or Tiger Tag 12, however you call me, I don't really care. And today we are on the World of Tanks 1.0.2 test server once again, and today we're going to be taking a look at the K-91. Now this tank is going to be the successor to the Object for 20, no actually, what is it? Is it the Object 420? No, Object 430 version 2. And what made this tank so special was its turret that was not traversable um, 360 degrees, but I think only about 180 degrees or 160 degrees, something along those lines, and that it was situated on the back of the tank. Now, that is not something unusual, since we have quite a few tanks now with the turret situated on the back, but it's quite unusual for medium tanks. We don't have many medium tanks with the turret stuck in the back, and this line certainly is special because they do add quite a few things together, which makes a very potent tank line, especially after they buffed all of the tanks in that line. And now it's going to get a tier 10 counterpart with exactly those gameplay mechanics, with a turret placed in the back, and that is the K-91. I just wanted to see through the other tech trees if there's any other tank with the turret in the back. I can think of one premium, the Object, what was it? Not the Defender. The Object, it's a Soviet tier 8 premium. The STG guard, I'm not even sure what it's called. Yeah, the guard tank, that obviously has the turret in the back as well. But I think another American tank has the turret in the back. Or I think it's just heavy tanks other than that. So yeah, this tank is very special in that case. So as always, we are going to take a look at the vehicle, take a look at its stats, we're going to compare it to some other tanks. We're going to look at its special characteristics, and then we're going to jump into 2 games. And I'd say we will do it like this. Again, we'll just play, like, we're just going to do a live commentary and action gameplay, and we're going to see if it's going to work out. If it's not going to work out, I'm just going to resort to gameplays, and I'll just commentate over those. So, before we get into the statistics, let's take a look at this tank. I think it's a very sleek and nice looking vehicle, very nice design. But I already have some problems with the tank. Just by looking at it, I can see that the turret seems to be one of the sturdy ones of the Russian tech tree, like standard Soviet turret that is impenetrable, at least by the looks of it. And the hull is basically, there's no real odd shape. It's very flat. This is just like the Object, like its predecessors. It's a very flat tank. Also a very flat hull. You have the lower plate here, which is obviously a weak spot. You have the entire side, which I will think is rather weak. And you'll have the upper plate right here, which is rather difficult to penetrate if you're not higher than this tank. But I'd say this tank certainly will not be as powerful as the Object 430. Now I can assure you that this is not going to be as overpowered with its armor as the Object 430. And it's kind of sad that we have to say something like that regarding new Soviet tanks, because Soviet tanks are just so overpowered in the game. It's kind of, yeah, the devs have just really biased opinions. It's very biased, in my opinion, on some of these vehicles. I mean, yeah, we don't need to talk about the Object 260 version 4. So yeah, looking at the tank, it's a very sleek design. It looks like its predecessors, and the first thought that I have is, well, it looks like it's going to have very bad gun depression, and that's one of the things that we'll see afterwards. So let's take a look at the vehicle details. The medium tank K-91. The vehicle was developed by the Design Bureau of the Army Engineering Committee under the supervision of A.F. Kratzev from March through August 1949. The tank was supposed to position a driver in the fighting compartment, as well as feature a 100mm gun with an automatic loading system. It's no automatic loading system this time around. It's just basically single shot gun like every other tank in the Soviet tech tree. No auto loading mechanics or auto reloader mechanics. And coaxial large caliber machine gun. The plan was to mount the 12-cylinder post piston turbo diesel engine. The mounting brackets with ski-shaped supports were used to support rollers. Development of the project was discontinued at the blueprint stage in 1949. So this is another tank that never really went into production, just a blueprint. I mean, it's crazy how many tank blueprints there are, especially during that time. I mean, Cold War era, the tank obviously becoming the most important part of every single land-based army. And yeah, you can see that the Soviets, obviously, with the largest landmass ever, or with the biggest country back then, even now, you can see that tanks certainly are a very valuable asset to each one of their army groups. So yeah, let's take a look at the K-91. We're going to compare this vehicle to some other Soviet medium tanks, especially the Object 140 and the T-62A, since I do believe that they play kind of similar. And we're actually going to compare it to a German tank, to the Leopard 1, not because of the armor or anything like that, but because of the gun. Because the K-91 is a very special tank. If you have played the previous tanks to the K-91, the Object 430 version 2 or the Object 416, you've noticed that these guns that they're running on those vehicles are very competitive. They're extremely good. And this time around, that is not much further from the truth. Now, looking at the average damage, you can see that the K-91, the T-62A, and the Object 140, all of them have the same kind of caliber. It's a 100mm gun. There are different versions, but they are still the same caliber. Average pen is the best on the K-91 with 276, and that is one of the things that this tank line, at least the back-turreted Soviet medium tank line, has in common. Very good penetration on the gun. The rate of fire is very, very high with 11.29 rounds per minute. That is incredibly strong. That's a rate of fire much better than the one of the Leopard 1. It's better than the T-62A or the Object 140. And actually, that is one of the strong points of this tank. It's such a competitive gun. You can see the actual reload time on my vehicle is 5.32 seconds. And an average damage of 320, that will give you an average damage per minute of 3,612. And that is mad. 3,612, you can chew through a mouse in a minute. Like less than a minute. And that's just, yeah, that's a raw power of the gun. So the turret's traverse speed, 48 degrees per second, also not too bad, not too shabby. Turret traverse angles, on the other hand. Now this is one of the things that certainly do hinder this tank line. It's a back-placed turret. You cannot turn it fully around. No 360 degrees turning radius, but this has always surprised me. Tanks like the Guard or the premium, what was it? The American Premium Tier 8 heavy tank, with its also the turret placed in the back, they can turn their turrets 360 degrees around, right? And this line can't. 220 degrees to the left 110 and to the right 110. Now they have actually buffed it from 180 previously, like only 90 to the sides each. And 220, you can actually work around with that, but that is still one of the biggest problems in this vehicle if you have to go up against tanks that are behind you or on the side of you. You have to turn your entire tank. If you're stationary, you will lose a lot of the camouflage bonus and all that kind of stuff. And it just makes you vulnerable, but that's a price you have to pay for the amazing armament that you'll be getting and some other things that we'll just talk about. So, gun depression. Now, this is very important. 9 degrees of gun depression sounds very, very good. And actually, this has been just buffed. 9 degrees of gun depression. Well, you'll be thinking, well, damn, this tank is going to roast things, right? It's like 9 degrees of gun depression on a Soviet tank, a Soviet medium tank, especially if you compare it to the T-62A or the Object 140 with only 5 or 6 degrees of gun depression. It's on the same level as the Leopard 1. But there is a big red mark on this 9 degrees of gun depression because it's only on the side armor. Like, if we compare it, you'll see it later in the game. If you're shooting over to the side, like right here, you'll have 9 degrees of gun depression. If you're shooting over to the side, right here, like right here, you have 9 degrees of gun depression. If you're shooting downwards from the front of your tank, you will not have 9 degrees of gun depression. You'll have something along the lines of 5 degrees of gun depression. And that is something that they don't really give you right here in the gun depression and elevation angle tab, because it's not true. You don't have 9 degrees of gun depression, at least from the front. You have it on the side. And that actually is pretty damn good. But still, at the same time, you'll have to kind of move your tank in a way that you can shoot over the side downwards if you want to shoot tanks below you. The aim time is very, very good, 1.45 seconds. That's also one of the key features of the tank line. That's the reason why I took in the Leopard 1. You can see the Leopard 1 with 1.66 seconds for fully reticle is already very competitive. Same goes for the other Soviet tier 10 heavy medium tanks, but you can just see how impressive this tank is. The Leopard 1 is still more accurate with 0.29, and I think it's the most accurate tier 10 medium tank, if I'm not mistaken. And the K-91 follows up very closely, 0.31. This is a very good sniper tank. You can already see it from the stats. The additional or the quicker aim time will allow you to snapshots, to do those snapshots, you know, and if you're stationary in a position where you can use, you know, where you can turn your tank without a worry of getting spotted, you can use those 9 degrees of gun depression very, very effectively, and you can use the gun and especially the good pen, the high, the low dispersion and the very good aim time to your advantage and be a very, very deadly sniper. That's exactly what Wargaming have intended for this tank. This is supposed to be a sniper. Moving on to the survivability tab, obviously the Leopard is going to cut off worst here. The hull armor on this vehicle is 140 millimeters thick. That is still fairly competitive. The side 60 and the rear 45. That obviously is not meant to be, this tank is not meant to be a brawler. It's not meant to, you know, go in there, side scrape and do stuff like that. Even though it has a backplaced turret, 60 millimeters of side armor is very weak. 140 on the front, on the other hand, is actually quite impressive. But I'd say once you get spotted, you're out in the open, they get your side or they get your lower plate or your frontal plate, this tank is not going to look too good. The turret, on the other hand, 220 millimeters frontal armor, 140 on the side and 60 on the rear. It's actually quite reasonable armored. It's actually good armored. But if we take a look at the turret, there is one big cupola on the left side, which is actually a weak spot. It is a bit rounded, but still you can penetrate the upper plate right here. Like if you hit this part, I think the right spot is also penetratable. So this vehicle does actually have a weak spot if it goes down in a hull down situation. So you'll be able to do something against it. So overall, I'd say for a sniper, for a vehicle that is supposed to snipe, it does pose just very impressive statistics in the armor case. Now the Leopard 1, obviously a very light tank. It doesn't have a lot of armor. It's still in service in some of the countries. It never was meant to have a lot of armor. But the K-91 obviously has more armor. It's very good at sniping, almost the same as Leopard 1. And it actually has better protection in that vehicle, but less health. So basically, I think the K-91 is the Soviet replacement or Soviet sniper that the Germans have with the Leopard 1. While the Germans also have the Brawler with the E50M, and the Soviets have it with the Object 140, the T-62A, and the Object 430U. So moving on to mobility, this tank certainly doesn't disappoint in this department either. 55 kilometers per hour going forwards. That's the same as the Object 140. It's not the fastest tank, but it's also not the slowest. It's like in the medium brackets. It's rather heavy, especially regarding its weight load on armor on the front and the turret. So it's kind of expected to weigh more. But at the same time, it also has a much better engine than the Object 140 and the T62A. But the traverse speed is also rather good. So all in all, this tank is rounded to be a very, very nice vehicle. The view range, 410 meters base view range. I have very good crew on it right now, that's why it's a bit better. Concealment wise, also this tank does have a bit of a better statistic right now, but as because of the crew that I have and because of the camouflage. But actually, this tank has better stats being hidden than my Leopard 1, because I actually do own this tank. I have the crew on it. Actually, I don't have the crew on it right now. So yeah, okay, the statistics are very similar. So yeah, this tank can be hidden if it wants to be, and it can be rather competitive in a sniping position. And that's exactly how we want to play this tank. We don't want to get into a close quarter brawl, because let's face it, at a certain moment you will not really have the ability to shoot them if they're like on the side of you, and you'll just have to turn your entire tank, and that is hella stupid if other vehicles are shooting you from the front and stuff. So I'd say we jump right into a match, and we're gonna see that we can actually take on tanks from a further range, because that's what this tank is good at. It can do very well in long range engagements, but close range is going to be another story. So we're going to be playing on Cliff. It's a tier 10 match only, and we are in the southern spawn. And actually, I don't really enjoy this spawn as much as I like the other one, because it's a bit more difficult to get on the hill. But we're not gonna go on the hill, although we do have 9 degrees of gun depression. We're gonna go to the middle, and we're gonna see if we can actually snipe some tanks while they're crossing and use our ability to our advantage. There is no artillery. There are a lot of tank destroyers, so it might be a difficult undertaking, but we're gonna see what we're gonna do right here. There are several positions I know where I could actually sit in a bush and snipe. Question is just if one of these guys right here is going to go and push the middle. So I'd say we're gonna just use the strong point of this tank. We're gonna go sit over here in this one bush, get it behind cover, and then we're gonna use the impressive 100mm gun to our advantage. And you can see the TVP right here has the exact same thought, since he's going to the exact same spot as I am. Just a bit of a difference. I have 0. Oh, that's so crazy. 0.31 accuracy. I think the TVP has a bit worse accuracy, but I'm not entirely sure. I haven't unlocked the TVP yet. I probably won't be able to get that vehicle in a while, so that's still on my list to do. So yeah, accuracy wise, this tank, obviously, I mean, with the aim time, damn, that's a lot of snapshotting potential. Look at this, like 500 meters, 0.31 accuracy, and yeah, the aim time of 1.41 seconds will get you a very, very impressive sniper. That's just one of the things. The Soviet tanks always had very good snapshotting potential, even the Object 140 and the T62A. That's, I think, the reason why so many people enjoyed playing them. but this is a new level. Yeah. So this is, yeah, I'm not gonna say anything if this tank is overpowered or anything like that. I've played a few games in it. It has its weak points and its strong points, and certainly sniping is one of its main objectives. And I'm actually, you know, the thing is, okay, we're sniping, right? We are doing damage to these tanks for our team. We are actually trying to take out some of these vehicles, especially the Batchat on top. But at the same time, look at what happens when you show your front armor. That was another K-91. And this is what happens when your tank gets spotted. Yeah. And that is very brutal, as you can see. Yeah, we missed that shot. The one shot that we actually need to hit. There we go. We take out the K-91, and now we're spotted. And now we have to be very careful right here. And now you can see the 9 degrees of gun depression that we can use to our advantage. Right here, because we can actually shoot over the top, the side part of our tank, and it's not actually the front anymore. And now we're just gonna see if we can work this E4. Oh god. Yeah, this is very awkward. Oh god. Yeah, this tank doesn't take hits very nicely, very well. It's just something you'll have to get used to. Oh god. Oh god, we have to get out of here. So, basically... Oh, crap. I've got myself into a very sticky situation. Maybe we'll survive this. Who knows? Oh, we actually survived it. And, yeah, once we got lit, we actually bounced 2 shells. Both of these shells were rather awkward angles for them because of the flat surface. It looked like our vehicle was, you know, giving them not the best of angles to actually pen us. But the other ones went right through, and you can see once you kind of get the side of the tank or the frontal part of the turret, or the lower plate, yeah, this tank gets roasted very quickly. So it's a great sniper as long as it stays hidden. And once it gets lit, it actually do have some armor that will allow it to survive some of the shots, but it doesn't have the armor that maybe the Object 140 has, or the Object 430. And I think obviously that's not what this tank is supposed to be. This tank is not supposed to be an Object 430 clone. It's supposed to be its own vehicle with a very impressive pen, very impressive rate of fire, and not with impressive armor. And I think this is totally fine. I think that the strong suit of this tank was shown in that position over there, where we could really punish the Batchat on top. And it was a good idea. Actually, it was a good decision not to go into the middle and try to contest for the middle, because this vehicle would have just gotten battered by whatever was over there. So sitting in the back and letting our team spot for us and supporting them with our shots was actually one of the parts why we are winning this game right now. So because every contribution to damaging the enemy team matters. You can see that we were able to hold them off for a while, actually still be able to move around here, go up here, and then shoot them while they're coming in. Now, to get even better results, we would have to train our crew more on camouflage, and be more wary of the bushes, you know, to use the bushes correctly, not shoot when you can see through the bush, but actually fall back, wait until the bush becomes not see-through again, and then shoot through the bush. But you can see exactly how you're supposed to play this tank. But let's see and get into a match. Maybe we'll get into a city map. And maybe we can see how uncomfortable this vehicle can be if it is in one of those positions where it has to play against vehicles that have the upper hand in close quarter combat. Because I actually had a game today. I played a game on the map. What was it? I already forgot the name. It wasn't Rurenberg. It wasn't Himmelsdorf either. Yeah, I played one game on a city map, and it was rather sticky. Obviously, you can move around, but once they do get the the upper hand in chasing you down, you are kind of outmatched by anything out there. The rate of fire does help you though. 5.3 seconds reload time is crazy. I'm not even using premium consumables. Imagine if you use premium consumables on this tank. Like, imagine if you push it 100%, everything. You have Brothers in Arms, you have premium consumables, you have, I don't even know, loader. Does the loader have a fast loading skill? You could push it to maybe 5 seconds or something along those lines. And that would be impressive. Actually, I think it would be 4.8 seconds with everything added. I do have best equipment. Actually, I could add the equipment for the special equipment that you can only buy with bonds. That would certainly make this tank even stronger. So we're gonna sit back. We're gonna use this bush as cover because we don't want to get too aggressive in this vehicle. Unfortunately, we just missed the Sheridan over there, but he's probably gonna peek again anytime soon. Play a little bit of peekaboo with us. And there is the Object 277, the brand new successor to the T10. Very strong tank. I haven't really decided yet if it is overpowered. I've played a few games in it, and it has proven to be quite a lot of fun. At least if you're not on the receiving end. But yeah, might be needed to be looked into a bit closer. Because right now, I think statistics show you very, very good kind of picture on how well people are doing in certain tanks. I think the Object 268 version 4 is doing exceptionally well. And that should be a cause to worry, obviously, because that thing is just OP as hell. So we just got spotted, I think, right here, because we couldn't wait a second longer. There is actually one artillery. Well, let's see if we can stay here. Wait until we're not spotted anymore. Shoot him. I'm spotted again, I know. Well, I can't use these bushes otherwise. And now it should be safe again. Yeah, if artillery is aiming this spot, we're getting the heck out of here. I have no idea where he hit me. Must be either in the tracks. That was kind of stupid. To shoot a FV like that, you gotta have balls or be completely ridiculously stupid. Yeah, but we're kind of lacking any support right here. But if we give up this position, they'll just flank these tanks in the middle. So I'm just gonna see if I can stand here, stay here a bit longer. Give my mates a bit more cover. We're not really spotting that much. God damn it. All the snapshotting potential, all the accuracy, we still don't put a shot into the Sheridan. I think it's time for us to get out of here. Because we certainly will be pushed if we stay there. And these guys in the middle actually are in the right position where they can get these tanks. They're coming in from the other side as well. And the beach is open. Yeah, this is going to be a very awkward situation for us right now. Oh god, we have an STRV right over there. This tank is though this tank is mobile, but it's not the fastest of tanks. But we're gonna just see and look that we get the STRV in the back, take him out, and then support them from the back ridge. Unfortunately, this game hasn't been as exciting as the other game has been. I think the fact was just that we pushed to a position where no one was supporting us made me a bit wary, and then especially the FV that appeared out of nowhere. That thing is not a vehicle you want to have up against. So with the rate of fire that we have on this vehicle, we should keep this tank perma-tracked without a problem. And this is just a beauty in itself. Look at how beautiful this is. And there's the E4. We're gonna do the exact same to the E4 because they're a bit oblivious. There we go. Can still do damage at the same time as well. He repairs his tracks. Okay, there was no track shot. Oh, there's a Sheridan over there. That is unfortunate. We're just gonna see if we can actually penetrate the Sheridan with high explosive. And this is exactly the position you don't really want to find yourself in with this tank. Okay, we're just gonna load APCR. But you can see, like, the time he has to reload allows us to shoot him like 3 times. Like, what? That is so crazy. So even in close quarter combat, okay, it was just a Sheridan. This vehicle doesn't fare too badly because it does have the rate of fire that you'll need. But certainly if the STRV and the E4 would have turned around and shot me in the face, that would have been really ugly. Ugly. Yeah, ugly is the word. So I'd say we play one final game, and I'm just gonna play this vehicle as I would play an aggressive tier 10 medium tank that has the armor that this tank does actually possess on a certain level, but not the armor that it should possess in these situations, if that makes any sense. And because I'm having a lot of fun playing this tank right now. Oh, actually, we have to scrap that because Sand River Encounter tier 10 with 3 artillery pieces. This is going to be an interesting one. Damn, this camo looks so cool. So, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the sand dune over here. We're going to shoot a bit over to the other side and see if we can get some damage in on these guys. It's a bit of a dangerous stretch because they have 3 arties, and they certainly will try to shoot anyone over here, because what usually people do in encounter in this map is they rush to this position, and these guys over here that spawn right there rush to these positions. Some of them usually go over to the backside of this sand dune, and the other ones actually go to the hill immediately. If I have some heavy tank support, which doesn't seem very likely, I can actually play that strat, but without any real support, it might get a bit tricky. But we're gonna try it out nonetheless, because we want to see how good this tank can intercept other vehicles. And if I peek here, I'm gonna be the first tank to get lit by the enemy team. And you can see that they're actually going over to the other side, the cap side, which I didn't really expect. Yeah, we don't want to get too involved with a Super Conqueror right here. We're just gonna go behind this sand dune. And this is just, you know, what kind of is a bummer for this tank. You can turn your turret around and shoot at them while you're fleeing, but that certainly is not one of the things that people usually do. You can see artillery already, because I'm the only tank that they have actually lit right now. There's an E100. Yeah, it's always dangerous if you're playing that spot. You'll make yourself a primary target, but it gives you the opportunity to get a bit of early damage into the game, and gives you the opportunity to actually spot the vehicles that are coming in. So the Conqueror right there is actually crossing. He's trying to fish for me to push over the ridge. Almost did it. Well, I'm just gonna do it because of the M48 pattern that is coming. Damn it! Oh, we're gonna get the FE. There is nowhere in hell that he's going to go through there with 10 HP. Oh god. Now this is important that we... Ah, god. Yeah, with the Leopard 1, you would have been able to get that shot in. We tracked the bad chat, and that bad chat is dead. Oh god, I spoke too soon. No way! That bad chat just survived. 276 millimeters of pen on his upper plate that is like 10 millimeters thick. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of awkward. We have a few tanks up there that are being evaporated by quite the aggressive attacks from the front, and it looks like if we actually push in from the back right here, it would be rather stupid. So I'd say we just go fall back to base, or we go after the STB-1 and the Panzer 100, push behind them, use our mobility to our advantage, maybe even get the artillery, because it does look like their base is rather open. Because we need a breakthrough somewhere, because we have to defend the base. We have quite a few tank destroyers actually right now at the base. We need a breakthrough right now. Can't really shoot that. Okay, they got the Panzer. And we're gonna go after the artillery. You can see 55 kilometers per hour. That's not something you reach when driving straight. We get the very first artillery. Firing on the move, is it going to be as effective as the other Soviet medium tanks? Actually, it's rather good. There we go. Rate of fire, 5.51. 5.3 seconds per round. That is impressive. Coupled with the aim time. Yeah, you don't really stand a chance. I think the T-92 is somewhere over there. On the other side of that dune. He fired, and we should be able to take him out. So we turned this situation around rather quickly, at least my team did. We didn't really do that much. We just went after artillery. And there's a Progetto. Now it's going to be interesting, because the Progetto... Oh no. I wish I could turn my turret. Oh, he's reloading. I can't do anything. This is exactly where you don't want to find yourself in with this tank. In a situation like this. Oh god, this is horrible. It was like a slow murder. Where you know, if you get the tracks repaired, you can do something, but... Yeah. And there you see it. The absolute problem of this vehicle when you get flanked. You have the 9 degrees of gun depression, but I'm sorry, 220 degrees of gun arc is not going to save you from someone who's behind you. But it doesn't really matter, we still win the game. Our team manages to take over both the fields. They're capping right now, and we did 2,400 damage, plus some 500 plus spotting damage, which isn't all too bad. Now, obviously, I think, yeah, the tier 10 you should do more damage, but still, we actually didn't do that much, and we still managed to do 2,400 damage. So, I'd say we're gonna just wait out this game, and I'll talk about the verdict on this tank. I think right now it's a vehicle that I thoroughly enjoy, because I've really enjoyed the Soviet line with the backplaced turret. It has been a lot of fun to play, actually. The accuracy is incredible. I've always enjoyed playing tanks that have good accuracy and that don't really have to rely that much on RNG, because they just have that crazy of a reticle. And that's why I enjoy this tank. I certainly like the armor that it has. It's not too much, it's not too bad. It's not too much. And it's not too not too bad. So it allows you to actually still do some plays. You know, you can still push around. 1,800 HP is completely enough. It gives you kind of the sense that this is a sniper vehicle. It's not supposed to be a frontline brawler, like the like the Batchat 1,800 as well. It's supposed to be assassin. This one is just supposed to take on tanks from a further or longer range, and it actually does work out. And I think it's a very enjoyable tank, and right now it's in a good position where I think it will do well, but it will not upset the entire meta of tier 10, like the Object 268 version 4. And I think it certainly is better balanced than the Object 277 right now. This vehicle, at the moment, I'm not sure, maybe it's just a test server, maybe it's just the entire thing right now. I kind of had more fun with this tank than the Object 277, but I don't want to say that the Object 277 is a bad tank. Certainly not, it's a very good tank. But this one might need a bit more of a weak spot on the top of the turret, or a bit of a weaker hull, because right now this is rather strong tank. I enjoy this tank. I enjoy the K-91. I will certainly get it. I have the Object 430 version 2 already in my garage. I'll start grinding that bad boy again. And yeah, I'll certainly look forward to playing this tank. So yeah, as always, I hope you guys did enjoy this little session. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.